Nice to be back here on Howzzat. Thank you very much, Vijay. Good to see you again.
Very good morning. And as Bedi sir wanted me to do, I'm going to smile right at the start of the video.
I think the game last night would make everybody smile. Anybody who loves cricket would smile. It brought us all to the edge of our seats, and there was a great finish as well. Slightly disappointing for Kings 11 Punjab, but Delhi Capitals will take that victory and take the 2 points that come along with that.
Yeah, they were, in fact, I would say they were fortunate, and I would definitely not smile if I'm Anil Kumble, because I had the game in my grasp. I had everything going for me. It was created out of nowhere. I mean, the way Mayank Agarwal almost snatched the game away from Delhi and gave it back to them on a platter. So I thought it was a typical T20 match where you get to see so many thrilling moments. There were sixes, there were boundaries, there was a catch. There was a glaring error by the umpire also, so which I think if you look back, it may have cost. I don't know. It could have been different also, but it had everything that T20 match should have had.
Vijay, we will quickly take up that umpiring error that you brought up just now. Nitin Menon calling for one shot. There was a very quick reaction from Virender Sehwag. He said it was not one shot because he got to see a replay much later. Now, Kings 11 Punjab will be within its right to feel denied. They would have won the match had the one shot not been declared. Maybe the victory was theirs already and it would not have gone into the super over. What are your own thoughts? I believe that when technology is available, especially when it makes the umpires look silly, I think technology should be used for such line calls as well.
I think this was overconfidence of Nitin Menon. He tends to indulge in such acts. He has done it in the past also. But young umpire, he can learn. He can learn from his father, who was himself a good first-class umpire. But I think technology, as you rightly said, it is available. It has to be used, and especially in such moments where it can cost the team a match. I mean, there is a team which is trying to make the best of what it had, and I think Mayank would feel deprived, and definitely Kumble must be fuming because the umpiring error apart, his team just gave it away.
Vijay, also one of the things that has struck me consistently over a number of years, because the advancement of technology sometimes shows up the umpire in very, very poor light. I have this feeling that broadcasters should be refrained from showing such glaring errors because it sparks a lot of debate, it causes a lot of angst, and in these times where people are talking about match fixing and corruption and anti-corruption, it's very important for broadcasters to show restraint as well. Let people who have observed it make a point, but to play it up like that at the end of the game to show that it was not a one shot, I think it does provoke, it adds fuel to the fire, Vijay. My own thoughts, I could be wrong about the broadcaster's responsibility. That you could debate it in both ways and say that the broadcaster did a great thing by showing up the umpire. But my own feeling is that for cricket to remain safe and sound, very, very important that post broadcasters not show up the umpire's errors so glaringly.
See, Rajaraman, you have a point, but the thing is, an error is an error. I mean, it can be a glaring error because of the situation, the match situation became glaring. And at that point, it was, see, I mean, if you put yourself in the position of Anil Kumble, he would want that umpiring error to be played the whole day because it deprived him, it denied him the match. And here I agree with you, broadcasters do have a role, but then there are times when they like to whip it up. They want debates. They want the focus on the game also, and also the fact that such debates can keep the IPL in public domain for a long, long time. And there are experts who are going to, even today, they will be analyzing this error the whole day on different news channels or maybe different sports channels. But yeah, they have to show restraint, and not just here. There are other times also when they should be showing restraint.
Right, Vijay. It's about time that we get back to the real cricket. it's never a good thing for any sport where the focus is taken away from the players and focus comes on and the spotlight is on the umpires or on the judges. Let's get back to the cricket. Take your pick. Mayank Agarwal. There was Kagiso Rabada who bowled brilliantly. There was Marcus Stoinis as well. And then there was Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant who gave that impetus to the Delhi Capitals innings in the beginning. Who is your pick for the night? Who will stay on your mind for some time?
Always for the pick of the night was Stoinis. If you see the way he batted in the last over, kept his cool. And I remember, Rajaraman, I must share with you here that once I was speaking to Virat and he spoke very highly of this cricketer. And I used to wonder, what has he seen in Stoinis? I mean, but he had seen long time back that this was a cricketer to be watched. And he swung the game on his own with the bat, with the ball. And then, of course, for me, the moment of the match was that silly shot by Mayank Agarwal. I mean, he all he had to do was tap the ball. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. They needed 1 to win, not 4 to win. So I can understand if 4 to win you play the shot, but 1 to win you just it was an innocuous delivery by any standards. He had to just tap it, and he found just the one fielder on the boundary. So I think that will rankle him. It will definitely haunt him for a long time. But for me, Stoinis was absolutely wonderful athlete on the cricket field last night.
I think it will be important for someone like Mayank to sit down with a psychologist at some point of time and analyze whether he got carried away, because he played a brilliant innings. The second half of his innings was outstanding. And we would have all remembered him for the 80 plus runs that he scored. But the fact that he went for a glorious finish and then gave the match away to Delhi Capitals because of that mistake, at some point of time, he might have to sit down and analyze the adrenaline rush that he must have experienced and thought that he would have finished the match in glorious style with a 6-over sweeper cover.
Yeah, but I have always remembered Mr. Gavaskar making a point. He says a cricketer should know, a champion should finish the game. He can't be creating a game. You have to finish the game. So what counts is how you have finished the game. Mayank Agarwal did not. He may have scored the best of, it could be his best T20 innings for all I know. But ultimately, it did not help the team. It cost them the game, and he himself would rue it, and lessons to be learned. But yes, to me, the turning point was that shot.
Marcus Stoinis, I will get back to Marcus Stoinis for just that moment, Vijay. Very, very few occasions where a player would have made an impact in the final overs of both the innings, both with the bat first, scoring 40 plus runs in 3 overs, 49 in fact in the last 3 overs himself, and then taking those 2 wickets with full tosses and turning the match on its head, forcing a super over. I think Stoinis had a wonderful night. But there was one new player who caught my eye, Vijay, Ravi Bishnoi, the leg spinner for Kings 11 Punjab, who bowls those fastest googlies and leg breaks, was very impressive against Rishabh Pant, wasn't he?
Yeah, and you can imagine who must have prepared him the whole of the session, Mr. Anil Kumble, because he always has he has been speaking highly of Bishnoi, and he was instrumental in getting this youngster to the team. And I'm not surprised the way Bishnoi bowled. He has such variety. Mind you, he can bowl flippers, he can bowl googlies, and he tried them in this game, in T20 game. He was trying all that. So imagine how effective and how deceitful he would be when playing a day's game. So yes, you're right. Bishnoi was a delight to watch.
There were other players. There was Mohammed Shami, for example, bowling those 3 overs up front for Delhi Capitals, for Kings 11 Punjab, and then putting Delhi Capitals on the back foot. I thought he was brilliant with the new ball. Then came back to pick up Shreyas Iyer's wicket as well. It was good to see an Indian fast bowler bowling so well. I was a little concerned about how the fast bowlers would respond to lockdown, and the long layoff from cricket. I thought Shami was brilliant last
Yes, your apprehensions about how they would last still hold true, because I won't go by just this spell by Shami. He has to sustain it, and he was bowling quick. He was getting help from the pitch also. There is no doubt about that. And now I can say why Suresh Raina. He was saying that this guy hasn't lost any of his. He's not at all rusty because they were practicing together in Ghaziabad. And Raina was saying that this guy is just doesn't look rusty at all. He's probably ready for the IPL. And we saw last night, Shami loves to bowl quick. Shami loves to bowl to take wickets. So that is what separates him from the rest of the bowlers.
That brings me to Ishant Sharma, Vijay. Disappointing that he could not play this game because of a back injury. The season has not started, and then he comes up with a back injury. Delhi would have missed him, but I thought they covered it up pretty nicely with the kind of balance that they found in the end. Unfortunate for Ishant. Uh, my apprehension about injuries will remain. Like you said, despite Mohammad Shami's spell, my apprehensions will remain for some more time until we see more fast bowlers come up and do a good job like Shami did. But one thing that surprised me, Vijay, last night was the bounce that we got to see in Abu Dhabi. I think the faster bowlers really loved it. Uh, Take for example Kagiso Rabada bowling to KL Rahul in the super over. Fantastic bouncer that followed Rahul down the leg side. For that kind of bounce for a pitch was wonderful to see. I think the fast bowlers really loved bowling on that track.
Yeah, I'm sure Rajaraman first fast bowlers are going to enjoy this IPL because Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they offer a lot of bounce the pitches. It is just the Sharjah pitch which might turn out to be dicey. Traditionally, it has been the ball tends to keep low, but I'm sure the organizers have worked on the surfaces because they don't want to disappoint the world. They're having a tournament in pandemic times, and then not being able to offer the best of playing conditions would be a shame. And it is nice to see bounce. It is nice to see turn also. They're able to Bowlers are able to extract turn also. So there is everything for every bowler, and there is a lot for the batsman. So I'm sure this IPL is going to pan out into a very exciting competition.
Vijay, let us talk a little bit about the two captains last night, and that is because there's been attention on what could be what we could be then we were talking about how there could be a future India captain here in Shreyas Iyer or in KL Rahul. I was disappointed with Rahul's captaincy, especially in that final over that Chris Jordan bowled to Marcus Stoinis, and Stoinis could pick up those boundaries that almost at will, not a sweeper cover. Some of the field placing left me baffled. I wonder if the bowler was not in sync with the captain, or if the captain was not willing to give the bowler, Chris Jordan, the kind of field that he wanted. But Jordan seemed all over the place last night, and Rahul's captaincy, at least on that front, was disappointing.
Yeah, Rahul is, I think, is still in the process of learning, and I'm sure Rajaraman there would have been a quick word between the captain and the bowler, and he may have not followed the line which they must have thought, the field which they must have set. So, and he was clearly under pressure. You could see on his face, the bowler was looking very tense, which to me was surprising because he must have been prepared for it. So yes, but Rahul will have to improve his captaincy, no doubt. He will have to show better control, and it is just one game. There was so much to learn for him from this match.
Let us spend just a minute on talking about Shreyas Iyer, his counterparts. I thought that Shreyas did very well to overcome the absence of R. Ashwin after that shoulder dislocation. I thought he handled his resources pretty well, getting Akshar Patel to step up to the plate and perform as well. And eventually, I think he got lucky too. He was allowing the game to drift away from him, but thanks to Marcus Stoinis, he was able to come back and fetch that victory in the super over. I thought he was pretty impressive most of the time, but he tended to lose control a little bit toward the end of the second innings.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. To mark my words, Shreyas Iyer will I mean, there has been talk of KL Rahul as a future deputy for Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, whoever takes over the captaincy in the times to come. KL Rahul, but my candidate will be Shreyas Iyer. He's a very good student of the game. He understands the situation very well and doesn't panic. I mean, last night, if you see, yes, there were some concerns on his face, but young fellow, a young man, and he's learning his lessons very well. You just see as the tournament progresses, you will you will discover that he is as good a leader in this tournament as anyone else. And most important, I think if I can just mention, I don't know if you had this in mind. What do you think? Would you have allowed KL Rahul to take strike in the super over? I mean, you have a batsman out there, Mayank Agarwal, who has created, who smashed the lights out of the bowlers, and then he doesn't get to face a ball in the super over. What is your view?
Interesting point, Vijay, that you make. Last night when I was watching the game, I did think that it should be Mayank Agarwal who should walk out to open the innings. Uh, but maybe the shot that he played to get out seemed a tired shot. So that would have made Anil Kumble and Rahul think a second time about pushing Mayank Agarwal to walk out to bat. But having said that, I think they needed to play the super over smartly. And to have Nicholas Puran, who scored a zero, walk in at the start of the innings was not perhaps the best decision. You would have wanted somebody else to bat. I really would believe that Rahul and Mayank would have made a good combination with Mayank taking strike, but perhaps he was a little too tired at the end of that effort, and that perhaps made Kings 11 make the decision about not having him walk out to bat the Super Overs.
Yes, Rajaraman, but I can counter argue. He may have looked drained, but he had taken a break. There was a break. He must have got his breath back, and you give him the strike. Leave it to him. He may have been looking to make amends. How do you know that he wouldn't have connected the ball? So, and plus, remember, he knew the state of the pitch very well. He knew how to. He was in a flow. It is another matter. He played a bad shot and he got out. But this would have been, I mean, I would have given the strike to Mayank Agrawal.
But no doubt about that. He was the best candidate to open the innings in the Super Over. He might have turned things around for Kings 11 eventually. But then Kagiso Rabada was bowling with a lot of guile. I think the kind of thought process that he brought into that Super Over, just the three balls that we got to see, would have done a spinner a lot of credit. The kind of thinking that went into getting the batsman out. First bouncing out KL Rahul, and then dazzling Nicholas Puran completely. I mean, terrific bowling, those three deliveries that we got to see from Kagiso Rabada. He was quite a bowler last night.
Oh, Rabada has always been exciting. I mean, the Delhi boys, I mean, I would hear from them that he's so competitive in the nets also. He's a very jovial character. He loves to keep up, to pep up the spirits of himself, not his own spirits, but even the players. So he loves to go flat out. And that is how a fast bowler should be. He can he can have his tricks, bowl the slower one or back of the hand slower one ball, fine. But essentially, he's a quick bowler and he has to be seen as a quick bowler, which I thought that is what he was last night. You're absolutely right. He was the bowler to watch.
Vijay, before we close, let us spend a moment or two discussing the match tonight. Going to be the Royal Challengers Bangalore against Sunrisers Hyderabad. Should be an interesting game tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we can expect fireworks, Rajaraman, from today's game. There will be focus on Virat Kohli. We all know how exciting it is every time he takes guard. And don't forget David Warner. I mean, he also must be wanting to make a mark right at the beginning of the league. So expect some good batting performances today because both the teams depend a lot on their batting. And I'm very excited. I'm going to sit and watch AB de Villiers because he's one of my most favorite batsmen in the last 20 years. I would love to see how he responds to the challenge.
there's one player that I'm looking forward to watching tonight, and that is Rashid Khan. Will be an exciting matchup. Rashid Khan versus Virat Kohli, or Rashid Khan versus even AB de Villiers, should be something that can keep us gripped. If you look at even T20 as a pure form of the game, contest between bat and ball, like all cricket should be, will be a gripping contest. Rashid Khan versus the batsman from Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Yeah. And please add Bhuvneshwar also. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, probably the most cunning bowler in the whole of IPL, and he has also prepared himself well. So you are right. Rashid Khan is going to be very exciting to watch.
Vijay, it's been fun again discussing cricket with you, and I hope to catch up with you tomorrow morning. And for you, the viewer, like we always want, you've got our Twitter IDs on the screen today. So you might want to tweet back to us and share your thoughts. And at the same time, if you want to write a longish mail, you can write to us at circleofsport@gmail.com. Thank you very much for being here today, and hope to catch up with you.